Hello all, I'm Alan Thrall, and today I'm talking strongman. That's right, the thing we decided to compete in when we realized our bench press sucks. So I want to show you guys how different World's Strongest Man competitions were in the 90s versus World's Strongest Man competitions these past few years. Nowadays, the competitors are lifting insane amounts of weight compared to the weights they were lifting 20 to 30 years ago. And I want to talk about why there has been such a huge increase in strength performance, or my opinion on the topic. Before I go on, I'm going to open up by saying that I think I could have won World's Strongest Man in 1995. I'm not kidding, hear me out. So here's World's Strongest Man competitors from 1995 doing farmer's carries with 17.5 stone, about 245 pounds. Here's me doing farmer's carries with pretty much the same weight. Pretty damn fast too, I mean, come on. Alright, so here's 120 kilos, about 265 pounds. That's a decent amount of weight. But not as much as your boy, Adam Paul, handling 145 kilos, 320 pounds in each hand. Okay, let's take a look at some other events. Here they are lifting a log that weighs 105 kilos, about 230 pounds. Impressive. Here I am making light work of a heavier log. 109 kilos, about 240 pounds. And how about my favorite event, the tire flip? Here, World's Strongest Man competitors flipping a massive 300 kilo, 660 pound tire. Wow. Okay, how about this tire? It's not 1,000 pounds, but it is 385 kilos, 850 pounds, supposedly. And I'm flipping it for 5 reps without breaking a sweat. World's Strongest Man competitors pulling a cute little Tonka truck. Adam Paul tugging on a semi-truck and a full-size pickup truck behind it. How about an explosive event? Here, World's Strongest Man competitors are tossing a 44-pound block over a 16-foot wall. And yours truly tossing a 40-pound keg over the same height. Alright, last event that I'm done flexing on y'all. Atlas Stones. Here they are lifting 5 stones, all progressing in weight, with the last stone weighing an enormous 300 pounds. Well, here I am, also doing a 5-stone series, finishing with a 365 pound stone. Like I said, I would have skated right up to that first place podium. Okay, if you didn't sense my sarcasm, I'll make it crystal clear. I'm joking. I don't think for a second that if I traveled back in time, I could have even competed near World's Strongest Man, let alone win it. Thinking that would be the equivalent to my dad saying that he bench pressed 400 pounds in high school as a freshman and that he could have played in the NFL, but he quit the varsity team because he didn't like the coach. Cool story, bro. Didn't happen, wouldn't happen. And I'll admit, these World's Strongest Man events that I showed you were not all from 1995. They were various competitions all throughout the 90s. Now, I didn't lie about the weights being used, but those guys were certainly moving much faster than me, and they were performing the events at a longer distance than I was. I also cherry-picked the lighter events just so I could make a video out of it. There were plenty of events like the Flintstone deadlift with over 800 pounds or the squat event with over 900 pounds that would have crushed me. So again, I'm totally joking, and I'm not discrediting what those guys were doing. But as a fan of strongman, I can't help but notice how much heavier events are nowadays than they were in the 90s. And that's only 20 to 30 years ago. For comparison, in 2019, they used a 100 kilo dumbbell that they had to press overhead with one arm. That's the same weight as the keg they had to just carry in 1997. In 1998, the winning log press was 147.5 kilos, 325 pounds, performed by Yoko Ahola. Magnus Samuelsson, who won World's Strongest Man this year, failed this weight. In 2015, Sadrunas Savigas pressed a 228 kilo, 502 pound log overhead. Graham Hicks recently logged strict pressed 215 kilos, 475 pounds. The current women's world record log press is 135 kilos, 297 pounds by Andrea Thompson, set this year, 2020. That would have secured her a 5th place finish in World's Strongest Man 1998. Like I showed earlier, in 1997, they did a 105 kilo, 230 pound log press for reps at World's Strongest Man. At the Arnold Santa Monica qualifier last year, 2019, they used a 175 kilo, 385 pound log for reps. And this dude, Mateusz Kielikowski, one motions it like a toy. In 1991, they loaded stones ranging from 90 to 140 kilos. That's about 200 to just over 300 pounds. In 2019, the lightest stone of the series was 150 kilos, 330 pounds, and the heaviest stone was about 210 kilos, 460 pounds. You get the point that I'm trying to make. There's been a massive increase in strength performance over the past couple of decades, and I'm going to talk about why I think this is. Reason number one, equipment. Let's take two deadlift events as an example. The 1999 Flintstone deadlift. They've got no deadlift suits, no straps, a regular old stiff barbell. They've got rocks for plates. The winning deadlift this year was 380 kilos, 836 pounds by Yoko Ahola. In 2014, Zydrunas Savickas deadlifts 520 something kilos, 1,150 pounds. He's got straps and it's on a long, flexible elephant bar with enormous Hummer tires for plates. And for those of you who don't know, this creates a lot of bend in the bar, making the weight gradually lift off the floor, and it creates a higher starting position. It's an enormous feat of strength, and I'm not trying to discredit what Zydrunas is deadlifting here. I'm just saying that the difference in equipment does play a role in the amount of weight that can be lifted. And on that topic, I posted an Instagram poll on my story asking people whether they like seeing the OG strongman events like the Flintstone deadlift, no suit, no straps, stiff barbell, standard height, or if they just want to see more weight, bigger, more extravagant implements. And almost 70% selected old school style lifts. Kind of interesting. If we compare Atlas Stone's iconic strongman event, the stones they were lifting in the early 90s were smooth granite stones, similar to what was used in Highland Games. Most of the competitors were not using tacky, maybe just a little bit of pine tar. They would even make fun of each other if they caught another competitor using sticky, grippy, adhesive assistance.
It's been a tough one. I don't think you come out tougher. Sticky. He had sticky on his hands. Referees.
In every competition nowadays, the competitors lift polished concrete stones with the help of heavy amounts of tacky that's specifically made for lifting stones. Some also use leather sleeves on their arms and even grippy shirts. I might be wrong, but I actually think that grippy shirts are not allowed at World's Strongest Man events. Again, I'm not hating on either style, I'm just saying that equipment does play a part in explaining some of the differences in weight being used in past and present competitions. And competition promoters might understand that people want to see a 1,000-pound deadlift, not an 800-pound deadlift. Using massive Hummer tires on a stage looks way cooler than using small rocks on a 7-foot barbell. And if letting competitors use a deadlift suit and straps helps them pull world record weights, awesome. That means more people are watching my show. So again, you can't hate on the advancement of equipment over the past several years. I totally get it. And that brings me to my next point. Reason number two, availability of equipment nowadays is far beyond what it was in the 90s. You can Google Strongman log bar and the entire first page is full of websites where you can buy a log and have it shipped to your house in a couple of weeks. And you can find a gym with a couple Strongman implements in every major city nowadays. Back in the day, I'd be willing to bet that the competitors used some of the equipment one time per year, and that was on competition day. They might have not got the opportunity to train with implements all the time. Back in my day, you either made your own equipment or you'd call a guy on his house phone from across the country, tell him what you wanted, and then mail a check and hope that he sends you some equipment that he made in his garage. So what I'm trying to say is, with the increased availability in strongman implements, competitors are just way more prepared. Reason number three, current World's Strongest Man competitors are freaks, monsters, mutants from another planet. I'd classify a lot of the World's Strongest Man competitors from the 90s as strong athletes. Big, strong, athletic dudes, weighing in around 300 pounds. Probably worked construction full time. Maybe they were a carpenter, farmer, blue collar, manual labor dudes. At some point over the past 20 years, the hormones in our milk and the vitamins in our cereal must have increased because the strongest guys in the world are freaks of nature. This is Brian Shaw in 2012. 6 foot 8 inches tall, weighing over 200 kilos. How about Hathor Bjornsson? 6 foot 9, 200 kilos. Zydrunas, Eddie Hall, they're all freaks. And check out this World's Strongest Man competitor from 1990. He only weighs 245 pounds. Mariusz Pudzianowski has the most World's Strongest Man titles at 5. He competed at a time when being fast, having a lot of endurance, and being strong mattered if you wanted to be the best. And some say he wouldn't do as well in competitions nowadays, especially very heavy competitions like the Arnold Classic. Now, while Mariusz didn't start competing until the year 2000, World's Strongest Man competitions in the 90s did have a lot more endurance-focused events that would reward speed more than pure strength. For example, this 6K medley in 1997. Farmer's Carry, Tire Flip, Chain Drag Medley in 1999. Duck Walk, Tire Flip, Truck Push Medley in 1997. This 5 odd object carry and load in the sand in 1995. Sack Run, Wheelbarrow Push Race in 1991. And some head-to-head combat events like the pole push that would absolutely zap the competitors and leave a lot of them injured.
This event is certainly taking its toll.
Well, Manfred's injured, Magnus is injured, Forbes is absolutely wrecked, so I think it's going to be a battle to the end now. If we can recover quicker, she'll go to the win, I think.
Forbes has really suffered here in the heat of the day and through 2 grueling fights. This is a very tough final.
And don't forget this rock shoveling event.
But the competitors must also load a minimum of...
And I have to mention a contentious moment in World's Strongest Man history, 1990. Odie Wilson going into the final event 5.5 points ahead of Jean-Paul Sigmarsson. He is asked to run 200 meters with a sack of bricks on his back against a much lighter, much faster Jean-Paul. This looks more like a track and field event than Strongman. Now, needless to say, Jean-Paul beat him and ended up winning the title that year. Some would say Odie Wilson is the strongest man to never win World's Strongest Man. And with that said, I've seen more medleys in recent World's Strongest Man competitions, and some of the lighter, faster, athletic competitors are starting to do really well. I'm also thinking that these guys are starting to realize weighing over 400 pounds and eating more daily calories than an adult rhinoceros is not something you can sustain for very long. I mean, Eddie Hall retired as soon as he won World's Strongest Man because he knew he was going to have a heart attack at any minute. A lot of guys are prioritizing their pursuit to become World's Strongest Man over their own health. Reason number 4, records get set, records get beat. One guy lifts 500, the next guy lifts 510, then 520, and on and on. It's the 4-minute mile phenomenon. For decades, really since the beginning of recording mile times, no one had run a mile in under 4 minutes, and everyone thought that it was impossible. Until one man, Roger Bannister, ran 1 mile in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. He was the first one to ever do it. Just 46 days later, someone else did it. Just 1 year later, 3 other runners did it, all in the same race. And since then, thousands of runners have done it, and I'm pretty sure it's even been done at high school track meets. Again, once that barrier is broke, everyone else knows it's possible and it's easier to achieve. So weights creep up each year, guys lift more weight, weights creep up, guys lift more weight, and so on. Which makes me wonder how much weight is going to be used in World's Strongest Man 2100. Reason number 5, there is way more incentive to be World's Strongest Man in 2020 than there was in 1990. The incentive, the opportunities, the doors that open when you become the best in the world is what attracts so many people to the sport. The higher the reward, the more people it attracts, the harder people train, the further they push their bodies, the higher the risk they're willing to take in pursuit of it. In a perfect world, you can really make a successful living being a top strongman. Let's look at some numbers. The prize for first place at the Arnold Classic is about $80,000. I think World's Strongest Man is about $45,000. And that's a decent chunk of change. Some of the best guys quit their day jobs in pursuit of a title. That's how much it means to them. Let's use Brian Shaw as our creative character. Let's say he wins the Arnold. That's $80,000. He wins World's Strongest Man. That's $45,000. His YouTube channel probably pays around $10,000 a month. That's $120,000 for the year. He's got apparel and lifting gear for sale on his website. That's another $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 per year. Online programs, online training, sponsorships, sponsored ads and product. The list goes on and on and on. I realize Brian Shaw is not the typical strongman, but he is the perfect scenario, which is certainly something to shoot for. Back in the 90s, he received a Tonka truck for winning World's Strongest Man. That's it. I was just having some fun with this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and always remember, tread on time!